Shana Tova, everyone. They say God works in mysterious ways, including through AI chatbots. That's the opening line, at least. In a New York Times article that came out just last week, it was entitled, "Finding God in the App Store." For thousands of years, we human beings have been calling out to the omniscient, to that all-knowing God, looking for answers to life's deepest and biggest questions. Were met perhaps with spiritual revelation, but perhaps with silence. Well, now, according to this article, you can always hear back from God in an instant, sort of anyway. It's an AI version of God called chatwithgod.ai, which is an advanced artificial intelligence that's collected the wisdom of all religious faiths. It's collected the wisdom of all psychology and all human knowledge. It has instant access to all of those texts and deep awareness of things that we perhaps don't, and so much more that when you type your most troubling and heartfelt questions into chatwithgod.ai, you get the answers that God maybe would have given you. The future of religion in America, like all things in our world, is becoming more and more tech-based, and the faith tech business is booming. All of you future programmers out there, take note, it is lucrative. Tens of millions of questioning faithfuls and religious people are turning now to AI-powered religious apps when they can't get a hold of their clergy person, when God is too busy with that whole running the universe thing. Hallow, which is the Catholic app, had 30 million downloads last year. At one point, it surpassed Netflix, it surpassed Instagram, it surpassed TikTok. Apparently, what took Moses 40 years of fasting, 40 days of fasting and climbing up to the top of Mount Sinai to reach that source of all knowledge, it can take us 40 milliseconds, and you don't even have to put down your snack from the couch. It's more low stakes. One woman who was interviewed for this article, she shared about talking to a religious clergy chatbot. You don't necessarily want to disturb your rabbi or your pastor when you wake up at 3 a.m. with that burning religious question that you just need to have answered. Well, my reaction to all of this is twofold. One, if you have a rabbinic question at 3 a.m, by all means, for the love of all things robo-God, use a rabbinic chatbot first. And if you don't like the answer it gives you, you can text me after. But my real reaction is to remind you this morning of what an AI rabbi can't really speak to. That in a world where we have more access to information and facts than we've ever had, more quickly than we've ever had them, our ancestors who schlepped around those heavy volumes of the Talmud would dream to have the entire Talmud in your pocket and to look up any verse in an instant. But what we are gaining in intelligence, in that quick access to knowledge, we seem to be losing proportionately as a society, unfortunately, in emotional intelligence, in sensitivity, in awareness to the matters, not of the mind, but of the heart. So if this is rapidly becoming the age, and it is, of artificial intelligence, I ask you, what about Seychel? True wisdom, as our faith and our tradition and our people have defined it. My friends, there is no such thing, even if there is artificial intelligence, there is no such thing as artificial seichel. That's up to us. Psychologists speak of the difference between IQ and EQ. You know the difference, I hope. IQ measures all of your cognitive abilities, how fast you, a human being like a computer, can process information and get to that answer as quick as you can. But EQ, emotional intelligence, that's a very different kind of intelligence. That has to do not with what's up here, but what's in here. with your interpersonal skills, how you treat the people around you on a day-to-day basis, the self-awareness you have, the awareness of how others perceive you and perceive the words that are coming out of your mouth, if you even care about such things, and you should, your ability to empathize, to see things from someone else's point of view, to handle with maturity and grace all of the many complicated relationships that life throws our way, that's not IQ. That's EQ. You look around at our society, and it doesn't take a supercomputer to understand that we are becoming too much about IQ and too little about EQ. That we are creating a world filled with information at the touch of a button, but without enough of what we call, as Jews, Seychel. There's a lot of kids around on the holidays. They're in the classroom, they're running around. Well, what is success for our children? If success for our children is nothing but their test scores, their GPA, their college ranking, all of the numbers like a computer, well, our faith, our Judaism says, yeah, they need that. But are we raising them to handle their emotions when life throws them a curveball, as it always does? Judaism says, yes, the scores should be good, but are they confident in who they are without being arrogant? Are they able to share what's going on in their lives with us and with their friends from the heart with honesty and courage? Or do they feel the need to hide who they truly are? When success for all of us is just about our businesses, our bank accounts, our ability in the workplace, Judaism says, yes, you need that, but what about your ability to be present when you get home from all of that for the one you love? What about your ability to remain patient rather than fly off the handle? What about your ability to see things from a perspective beyond just your own and just the one that's in your echo chamber of social media, where you only see the things that relate to what you believe in, not what someone else believes in? We talk about success in terms of reading contracts or reading the latest novel or nonfiction. What about the ability to read the much more subtle language of the heart? There's an old Yiddish phrase that we use to speak about people who have a lot of IQ, but not a lot of EQ. People with a lot of success in this world, perhaps in secular terms, but not a lot of seichel. They would say, hot azoi fil seichel wie in cloister mezuzahs. You know what it means? Cantor knows. They have about as much seichel as a church has mezuzahs. My friends, you look around and you see how our society is filled with examples of very successful people who are unsuccessful when it comes to being a human being, when it comes to just being a mensch. Folks who maybe sit inside their nice homes and drive those nice cars while the relationships suffer. They have resumes pages and pages long, but they go through this world looking down on the people they meet. They've made their spirits ugly in that way. Folks who maybe have a sense of entitlement, that everything is coming to me, and yet at the end of a day or the end of a lifetime, look at all those possessions that they've amassed and wonder what joy can be found in them if I've driven away the friends and family who I should now be sharing them with. There's IQ and there's EQ. There's intelligence and success as our society defines it, and then there's seichel, and those who have watched the news over the summer, as I have seen a lot of viral videos that share a lot of examples. Videos with millions of views. I watched them all. They caught the world's attention. Maybe you saw the video of the Polish CEO, Peter Szyszek. Has anyone seen that video? He was caught on camera at the US Open ripping an autographed hat from the hands of a young boy looking at this child's disappointed, crushed spirit with pride and glee. Look at me, I'm better than you, you little child. I got the hat, not you. Is he successful? Yeah. He runs $1 million business. Is he intelligent? Yeah, he's the CEO. He makes decisions at the highest level. By the standards of society, he is successful. By the standards of God, what he may have up here, he lacks in here. What about the acclaimed baseball reporter Ken Rosenthal? Sadly, a fellow Long Island Jew, and what a shanda it was to see. Ken Rosenthal, whose viral video clip also viewed in the millions, in a post-game interview, he backs up and accidentally he knocked over the cameraman who was there, and the cameraman fell flat on his face into the dirt. And instead of going over like a mensch to reach out a hand and help the poor guy up, he looks at him like he's a piece of trash, like he's a piece of garbage, like he's nothing. Successful? Rosenthal is one of the most accomplished journalists of our generation. Intelligent, his analysis of the game has been in every major sports magazine, but too often, what we have up here, we can't make up for what we lack in here. There's IQ and there's EQ. There's intelligence as secular society defines it, and then there's Seychel. And when the Talmud asks who is wise, it gives a very different answer. It surprises us in its answer. When the Talmud says who is wise, it's not the one who's most well-read. It's not the one who uses their intelligence to get ahead in this world, to beat everyone out, one who, like a computer, can get to that answer the quickest. No. Who is wise? Halomed mikol adam, the one who learns from everyone. The one who doesn't just look to that young boy or that cameraman and just see some kid or just see some worker who's beneath me in life, but the one who has the wisdom to see that life and our relationships and how we carry ourselves through this world and how we treat the ones who we meet along life's way, those are the markers of what make us human. Those are things that no AI supercomputer could ever have. But those are the expectations of God that we, as Jews, reflect upon during these days, this season of reflection. Not intelligence, but real wisdom. Talmud gives examples of real wisdom when it says things like this. It says, "Do not pacify your fellow when his anger is rising. Don't comfort your fellow when his dead lies before him. Don't challenge your fellow at the time that he makes a vow. Don't intrude on your fellow at the time of his disgrace or embarrassment. Don't judge your fellow until you've been in his place." How do you know how to be in relationship with someone who's getting angry without making it worse? That's wisdom. How do you know how to comfort someone who's crying in your arms because they've just experienced a tragedy and you don't exactly know what to say to them? That's wisdom. How do you know how to give people space when they need it, when they're embarrassed or ashamed without pointing it out? That's wisdom. How do you know when to judge someone and when not to judge someone? That's what we call Seychel. That's why the wisest man in all of Jewish tradition was King Solomon. He had a dream where God appeared before him, King Solomon, with an offer of anything in the world that he could ever desire, and logic would dictate King Solomon, the wisest man, would say, "I want long life, I want great wealth, I want knowledge of all the Torah." No, the wisest man in our tradition asked God for something else. He asked God for a lev shamoah, for a listening heart, to live well with others, to be there for them in ways that are holy and good, to have the skills of the lev, of the heart, and not just the mind. It's why our rabbis of old shared what I think is probably the most important statement in all of Jewish tradition when they said, "Derech Eretz kadma l'Torah." What's Derech Eretz? It's civility. It's the basics of being a mensch, a good person. And they say, Derech Eretz Kadma LeTorah, it comes before the whole Torah. What does it mean? It means you can be religious. It means you can be pious. It means you could put tefillin every morning. You could follow all the letters of the law to a T. But if you can't, on a simple level, reach out your hand to someone who's fallen, or open your heart to someone in need, your fellow human being, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity just because they're a human being in front of you, what good is all that religious practice? The rabbis might have said, to put it a little more strongly, it ain't for anything unless you have that basic level of civility. My friends, don't get me wrong. It's not that Judaism is all about emotions. On the contrary, we all know we're the people of the book. Throughout history, we have always been the people who love learning in all of its many forms. We have a love of education. We value educating our children. It's a huge part of who we are. It's probably why, and I love this statistic, Jews constitute 0.2% of the world population, yet the Jewish share of winners of the Nobel Prize is 110 times our proportion of the world's population. We love learning. Jewish brilliance, Jewish passion for study, Jewish parents' insistence on their children learning has made us probably the most successful Jewish generation, at least in secular terms, in our entire history. We are the most successful Jews. But I wouldn't be your rabbi if I didn't remind you during these holy days that we're supposed to be looking into our hearts too, and looking back on a year too, and thinking deeply and asking ourselves, how did I treat the people in my life? It's not just my mind, it's not just my success and accomplishments that make me great, that makes me in the image of God. On the contrary, did I put as much effort and energy into practicing the art? And it is a practice, like learning an instrument, where you have to get the song wrong a few times before you get it right. The practice of being human, the practice of learning how to live well with others. Did we work only toward acquiring those tangible things that surround our lives, or did we work on ourselves? The analytic mind, it's a gift from God, and an awe-inspiring gift it is. Our minds are capable of doing great things, helping us to accomplish so much in this world in so many areas of life, but it's only one piece of the puzzle of who we strive to be. And when we say the Shema every single day, multiple times a day, what do we say that the words of Torah should be? Not on our minds, but al levavecha, on our hearts, so that during these days of Teshuvah, we wake up to that spiritual side, to that emotional side, that sometimes all of us can let wither like seeds that need to be watered during the course of a year. That beating heart that we strike during these days, that sensitivity to the needs of those around us, in a world of AI rabbis and apparently AI God too, well, that's what makes us human. When the yeshiva student ran to the wise rabbi boasting, "I've gone through the entire Talmud 5 times," the wise rabbi asked him, "That's well and good, but how many times has the Talmud gone through you?" As your rabbi, I ask you the same question. We sit in this room, all of us, as doctors, lawyers, accountants, business owners, successful entrepreneurs, people whose children went to good colleges or will go to good colleges, people who drove nice cars here to shul and will drive nice cars back to nice homes afterward. But we open this machzor, which doesn't talk about any of that, and instead asks us questions like, who am I and who do I want to be? How do I want to be remembered? As the one who ripped the baseball cap from the young child, or the one who went out of his way to hand it to him? Am I willing to forgive a little more courageously, or love a little more deeply, or extend myself even when it's difficult or when people are challenging? Am I willing to take the moral high road even when the person standing in front of me isn't? So I ask you, you may have gone through this machzor and its prayers every year for 50 years, but to what extent have they gone through you in your life? My friends, there is IQ and then there's EQ. There's intelligence and success as our society defines it, and then there's Seychel. There are AI robots, and then there are beating hearts open to the possibilities of life and emotion and spirituality and all of its challenges and all of its blessings. And so in this world of information, where technology is pitting us against each other more and more in ways that are scary and ways that we've seen have real consequences, we can't lose what makes us human. We can't lose our ability to see each other as human beings either. Us Jews have been given a purpose and a mission in this world to be a light unto the nations, to be a light unto the world. That includes our success, it includes our contributions to society on a lot of levels, but it also must capture a different kind of success, the success we achieve when we reach a little higher, and how we treat the people who will make up the story of our lives when the story of our lives are told at the end of our lives. It's a world of artificial intelligence, of chatbot rabbis who know more than I will ever know, even if I study all day for the rest of my life. If chatwithgod.ai is to be believed, computer programs that have the answers immediately in an instant to so many questions may be the future of religion. And yet, though it is a world of artificial intelligence, I remind you, there is no artificial Seychel. That's got to be real. It takes place not screen to screen, but face to face. And it is our work to strive toward. May it be the work for us of a beautiful lifetime that we create. Shana Tova.